Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel, your go-to space for South African political drama, power shifts, and the occasional twist that even a telenovela scriptwriter couldn't make up. Today's story. Well, grab your popcorn, because the battle between the Umkhonto we Sizwe party and the Amakhosi from the former Transvaal province is serving up more spice than a Durban curry. Yes, you heard that right, a powerful block of traditional leaders, the very same Amakhosi who once stood side by side with Jacob Zuma's MK party, have officially cut ties. Not quietly, not politely, but with a loud political mic drop that has everyone asking, is the MK party imploding from within? Now before we go full analysis mode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a moment of the ever-evolving South African political soap opera. Also, drop a comment below, do you think this spells doom for Zuma's political comeback? Or is it just another bump on the rocky MK party road? Let's unpack the drama. So what's actually going on? A group of traditional leaders, also known as Amakhosi, from the former Transvaal province, which includes areas of modern-day Limpopo, Mpumalanga, Gauteng, and parts of Northwest, have come out swinging. These aren't your average community reps, these are respected power brokers in rural politics, custodians of culture, and kingmakers in every sense of the word. And now, they've publicly dumped the MK party. Their reason? Disrespect, and not just once or twice. We're talking about what they call a consistent pattern of being ignored, sidelined, and frankly, humiliated by the party they once hoped would give traditional structures a voice in national politics. The main target of their ire? You guessed it. Former President Jacob Zuma himself. They accuse Zuma of steamrolling their advice, ignoring their traditional protocols, and sidelining them during key decision-making processes in the party. In their words, he treats traditional leaders like decorative ornaments, good for a photo op, but not to be trusted with real influence. And folks, let's not pretend that isn't a serious charge in a political culture that still heavily relies on traditional authority, especially when campaigning in rural areas. Now, we know Jacob Zuma's leadership style has always been, shall we say, robust. But it seems the same charm that once made him a darling of rural constituencies might now be his undoing. Let's be honest, this is not just a symbolic gesture. This is a strategic blow. In South Africa's rural political landscape, traditional leaders still hold serious sway. They aren't just ceremonial figures, they shape community perspectives, control access to voters, and influence everything from land disputes to local development plans. Losing them? That's like a political party willingly giving up free campaign workers, community mobilizers, and local legitimacy all in one. So for the MK party, a relatively new political force still trying to gain momentum, this is a massive hit. Remember, the MK party's whole appeal was built on Jacob Zuma's rural support base, especially in provinces like KwaZulu-Natal, parts of the Eastern Cape, and the old Transvaal heartland. That grassroots machinery. It doesn't function without the blessings of local traditional leadership. And the timing? Couldn't be worse. We're heading straight into the next electoral season, with coalition politics heating up, by-elections looming, and national campaigns being drafted as we speak. Every party is scrambling for reliable votes, and the MK party just lost a serious chunk of theirs. Now let's talk about the why. Why did this fallout happen? The Amakhosi say they've been raising their concerns for months. Apparently, they've sent letters, held meetings, and made requests to be heard, all ignored. One insider described the party's attitude as urban arrogance, dismissing traditional leadership structures as old-fashioned or irrelevant. But here's the kicker, these are the very structures that Zuma once weaponized to build his political empire. Ironically, it was Zuma himself who, during his ANC days, poured massive effort into winning over traditional leaders. He made sure chiefs got cars, salaries, recognition, and a seat at the table. So what changed? Some analysts suggest Zuma, now laser-focused on positioning his children and loyalists in party leadership, is prioritizing loyalty over traditional legitimacy. Others argue that the MK party's internal culture has become chaotic, with multiple factions, unclear power lines, and a shrinking circle of trusted advisors. In that kind of atmosphere, the Amakhosi were increasingly treated like outsiders. And let's be clear, no self-respecting traditional leader is going to sit around while being made to feel irrelevant. Political commentators are already weighing in. Some say this split could set off a domino effect, other provinces might follow. Especially if the MK party fails to control the narrative or win back trust. Others believe this is a moment of reckoning. That Zuma and his inner circle underestimated the seriousness of traditional politics. They treated it as a box to tick, not a living institution. And in doing so, they've alienated the very people who could have given the MK party long-term rural staying power. On social media, reactions have ranged from mockery to worry. One user tweeted, "Zuma forgot who brought him to the dance. Now the kings have left the ballroom." Another wrote, "MK party without traditional leaders is like pap without stew, bland and useless. Say what you want, but the optics are bad." And unless the MK party issues a carefully crafted, respectful response soon, the silence might be seen as more disrespect, and that could deepen the rift. But it's not all doom and gloom. Some political strategists believe this is an opportunity for the MK party to reset. If they can swallow their pride, apologize sincerely, and rebuild trust with the Amakhosi, there's a chance to repair the damage. But that would require humility, and let's be honest, humility hasn't exactly been the defining trait of the MK party's leadership so far. The traditional leaders, for their part, have made it clear they're not quitting politics. They're not withdrawing from public life. They're just cutting ties with what they now view as a party that disrespects their values. And they aren't ruling out new alliances. Let that sink in. The door is wide open for the ANC, the EFF, or even small regional parties to swoop in and win over these leaders. In a political system increasingly driven by coalition building and tactical partnerships, every alliance counts. The MK party might have just handed their rivals a powerful gift. So, where does that leave us? With a lot of unanswered questions. Will the MK party issue a statement? Will Zuma backtrack? Could a reconciliation be on the cards? Or are we witnessing the slow unraveling of a political outfit that was built more on personality than principle? Whatever happens next, one thing is clear: South African politics remains anything but boring. That's all from us today. If you enjoyed the breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your politically curious friends. Drop a comment below. What's your take on the Amakhosi walking away from the MK party? Smart move? Political betrayal? Or long overdue? Thanks for watching, and as always, see you next time.